Link frequencies are open. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Last Excelsior, our Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition actual play here on Althaven. We are going to get started tonight pretty quick because we're running about 10 minutes late. I do feel inclined to share with everybody that there was a debate that this episode, based off of what happened in the previous episode, this episode would be named Punching Nausies, which is sort of short for Nausicaans. So fun. Okay, so now that I've shared my little bit, I don't have any personal announcements very much. Issue 2 of Stranger Things, The Rise of Hellfire came out last week, so feel free to grab that at the comic book shop. It makes me and Jody look really good. So
I don't have any announcements. I just put out another comic. No, it's no big deal. It's no big deal, you guys.
Dark Horse put out our second comic. It's very good. I'm very excited about it. I just saw the art for the very first time because I didn't get the chance to see the pages for approval before the first time because we were kind of busy and Jody handed that. Oh, by the way, happy birthday, Jody Hauser. Congratulations on turning level 45. Well done. Well done.
Oh, yeah.
Well done. Noble victory, my lord. Okay. So with that, anybody else have any other announcements for the evening? What, Noir?
First, Morning Ritual is back, and we had our very first episode.
So long as it's not Sam.
Ooh, I've got some bad news for you.
Because
it was, in fact, Sam. And tomorrow, the promised Main Contained Science 1-shot or 2-shot comes out at 11:30 Central Time, Pacific Time, at a time as it will also come out. I can't math.
9:30 Pacific, 11:30 Central Daylight Time. Briefly, there will not be a Morning People episode before the Morning People will be taking the morning off, I'm afraid.
And finally, April 15th is the release of Phase 1 of Noirville. We're starting with Bad Meets Evil. So check it out. I'm very excited to finally not have to keep secrets any longer. But that is me.
I feel that.
Oh my god.
In my GM soul. It's hard running games for Bonnie Gordon because Bonnie likes to sit on a secret. She'll sit on a secret for the whole damn campaign, and if it never comes out, then it never comes out. Like she plays the long game, man, and it's hard for me back here just going.
I just got to be like, I don't know, maybe. Like if I say maybe one more time, I'm going to lose it. But that's me.
Anybody else have any other announcements this evening?
Yeah. We posted it on socials, but we revealed the character art for the actual play podcast that I am I'll announce that I am a player in, and also the producer of Sacred Machinations. We gave a little brief summary of it, but it's basically when after ancient monsters reawaken, 5 resistance fighters are forced to undergo a process painful but also sacred to pilot mechs, essentially physical forms of gods.
What?
And concepts.
Perked up like a dog in the retreat.
Yeah, mechs. Sacred Machinations is a game inspired by mechs, Gundams, and fun, weird approaches to the idea of divinity. So if you want to check that out, keep following me on socials, and we're going to be announcing the cast over the next couple of weeks. We can check out the gorgeous character arts for now.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Fun fact: BattleTech got sued back in the day because it was discovered that FASA was actually publishing pictures of Robotech in their books, ripping off mech designs right from Robotech. Shut that stuff down. Really fun piece of mech history. All right. Anybody else have any other announcements? Yes, Caitlin.
Over on my Twitch channel, at least once a week. Can't tell you when, because I don't even know when. I stream GeoGuessr. I played last night, and the new VOD is now up on my YouTube channel, so you should check that out. The VODs or come watch live. It's very, very fun. We are learning new stuff every day. Last night, we learned that the city, you should not guess the capital city of Kyrgyzstan if there are leaves on the trees. Who knew?
You guess where you are, they guess when you're live.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, anybody else have any other announcements before we get started?
Nope, just reiterating again, no episode of Morning People tomorrow.
Cool. All right. Well, with that then, folks, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's episode of The Last Excelsior.
Butts.
Welcome back. I'm pretty sure they heard that one. I think they were a little late on the draw on that one. But the good news is it does make sense, Drac, because you guys actually do have the initiative. So it's a quick reminder of where we last left off. You guys were in the hangar bay of one Drozana station, where you were trying to conduct something of a covert operation and connecting with a dealer who might know where to find ready supply chain of these outdated, outmoded power cells that have been the target of raids. These power cells are, in fact, quite old and ancient and very specific. And you have your science officer explaining that this is what we're looking for if we're going to find the people that are behind all the mysterious happenings that are, particularly with the IKEA, with the Klingons, who are in the process of having a bit of an issue of their own. As a quick reminder, we have essentially a Klingon vessel commanded, it's the IKS Drovna, not to be confused with Drovana Station, but Drozana Station is the home of the, okay, let me start over. I got tangled up because I'm looking at 5 different GM screens. Drozana Station is where you are. Drovna is the Klingon vessel that has currently been captured in its own sort of sub-time pocket and can't engage with this time stream. And y'all are trying to help the Klingon captain, the Cross, get out of that before she blinks out of existence with her and the rest of the crew. Tracking down where these power cells might be being distributed from or shipped from or connected to a possible lifeline to the black market in which they are taking and going and being taken out of this place. You guys have found a possible smuggler who might know what's going on. You were led here by one Zazrit, who took you all to meet up with her. Turns out he and she are both tangled up into what looks like a nest of Nausicaan pirates who had an agenda of their very own. And Zazrit kind of talked some smack. Some smack got talked back and forth, and eventually a big throwdown began to happen here in the hangar deck. The pirates not really all that interested in negotiating. Big fight broke out. And the crew of the USS Pride did not hold back. You guys basically took the initiative here and laid the smackdown. I have here in my notes that you took out their leader. We have our captain basically breaking the jaw of a Nausicaan with a nice right hook. And the fight that broke out just when it seemed like things were about to reach a stopping point, the GM was a jerk and spent threat and summoned 3 additional reinforcements, which have just arrived on scene. Now, as we have left the previous round of the fight, of combat, this round comes to an end with one action being taken by an NPC who is not involved in the fight. And that is going to be the smuggler, who looked like she was caught in the midst of all of this. She, in this round, is taking her action to basically throw herself to the ground as disruptor bolts and punches are being thrown. And she is currently crawling towards the ramp leading into her ship as quickly as she can. So she's moving at half her speed, but it looks like, as I described in the last episode, it looks like her intentions are to get the duck out of Fudge, basically. So she is trying to book it. Zazrit has 2 disruptor pistols drawn and an exposed energy whip on his waist. He is opening fire, and the surprisingly Gatling gunless Gorn that is flanking Zazrit is using his bare hands to hurl Nausicaans well above the standard healthy altitude in which a Nausicaan can fly, which is roughly 4 feet. In this case, the Gorn is explaining to them that physics don't really matter when you are built like a tank with scales. So, the end of this round happens as Casey is crawling towards the ramp of the vessel as this firefight has broken out. The Nausicaans just stepped off of that rickety turbo lift into the hangar and have spotted what's going on in this round. Before they join combat, have drawn their disruptor pistols. They are currently at range. So we're going to kick things off here. You guys have the initiative starting off. Anybody can go first if you would like. What would you all like to do? How would you like to deal with this?
I don't think Cadence got a turn
That's
last
what I was gonna
time.
say.
Oh, did Kate? No, that's okay. We can let Cadence go now and then start the new combat round.
Okay, yeah, not too much of a big deal because I planned to pursue Casey.
Okay.
Last we saw, she was described as, I have in my notes, about to run away.
Yep.
And
Yep. that's
not
what
on
she's
your own,
doing.
you don't. Love the part where she's getting out of the line of fire. That part, very much in alignment with.
Mhm.
The part where she runs away
Not a big fan.
alone, a little less. So following alongside, taking cover as a minor action. But
Okay.
really focused on the quest NPC here.
Okay. Excellent. You've got the objective. Sorry, I'm just laughing because the first thing that comes to my brain is Sam is not going to forget the lessons they learned in Beacon when it comes to the mission objective NPC. So here's the thing. Casey is scrambling to get up the ramp.
Yep.
If you're going to reach them, what is your plan when you get to them? Are you tackling them? Are you just going to try to confront them? What is your because you're going to be able to reach them easily. They're within movement range for you easily in this round. What would you like to do when you reach them?
Well, this is their ship that either does or doesn't have permission to dock, and I figure as long as I am also on it, I'll figure something out.
Oh, okay. So is the intention to basically follow them up the ramp? Make
Yeah.
sure that you're on the ship with them?
That's, I mean, because as long as she's there, she's not in the line of fire, and as long as I'm not there, she's
That
not
ship
getting
isn't
away
there.
from us.
That's true. Okay. So in that case, it's we'll say then since nobody's planning on stopping her, but Cadence is planning on being there, then we can say easily that there's just like a timing in the Nausicaan stepping off the turbolift and drawing disruptors, hearing Zazaret shout some swear word in Orion. And then a few moments later, the sounds of heavy boots and Casey charging up the ramp with her head down low as she kind of barely watching where she's going, throwing herself into the doorway of her ship. As she's throwing herself through the entryway, right behind her, breaking away from the group, you all see in the corner of your eye Cadence just full on charge after and run up that ramp right after her and disappear into the ship right behind her. So Cadence, you and Casey are now both completely out of the line of fire. And I'll describe what you see inside the ship. This is a civilian freighter. It looks quite old. Big enough, rather small enough to land here in this hangar. And from the looks of it, just off, because you are so familiar with piloting systems, to no surprise, it looks like it's been a lot of patch jobs, a lot of repairs. But as soon as you charge in through the entryway and kind of slam your shoulder into the wall, because that's the force of which you are jumping out of fire, you can already tell this freighter looks like it's been patched up and modified quite a bit. Casey does not seem to be aware that you are behind her. She looks like she is charging head first, kind of still a little off balance from like throwing herself forward into the run. She is kind of stumbling towards what you assume to be the bridge of the ship, which is not far from here. She doesn't seem to be aware of you. You're in sort of this patch job of a very, very similar in the corridor. I would say the corridor looks very similar to like a really old beat up pipe ridden like hall corridor of like where you can see a lot of tech kind of exposed, not really any wall paneling or anything like that. Not really built for comfort so much as just kind of built for practicality.
A to B. I mean, that is kind of the ship's job. I'll follow up to the bridge again. Oh no. Go into the pilot seat, heaven forfend.
Yep.
Also, yeah, just gets her farther out of the line, gives me more tactical depth if anyone ever decides to come charging up after us. So also going to the bridge.
Okay, let's do this then. I'm going to extend this a little bit because I like the idea that this has all happened while the fight's happening in the first actions of the round. So we'll go a step further. We'll say that you managed to charge in behind Casey as she makes it to the bridge. The bridge, of course, doesn't even actually have a secured door. She just kind of stumbles through what looks like a large portal into the bridge. And there is only, it looks like there's 4 seats up here. 3 of them are empty. The 4th seat is slightly adjacent, off center to the right, where she kind of slams into the chair as she's just finally catches up with her momentum and avoids stumbling headfirst into the control panels. She hits this chair hard, spins slightly, and with gasping breath, she turns, whirls around, and sees you coming after her.
All right, what's the plan? Where are we going?
Well, her eyes widen as she sees you enter the bridge area. You see her, she immediately reaches for something on the console to end the round. You have to assume it's something that probably is a weapon of some kind. But she lunges for what seems to be something hidden behind one of the outcroppings of the console. So that's going to be the end of that round. But you are on the ship and you do have her basically cornered. So,
oh God.
So she can't, because in her mind, you're not Starfleet. You're just some dudes that Zazrit brought. So she's like, pretty sure she's going to die right now. All right. So let's go ahead and start it off then. We're going to just kick off the new round of combat since you guys pretty much laid out. There's only one Nausicaan left that is of the original crew. He is picking himself up, still standing, but the rest that are coming in behind, they have drawn disruptors and a firefight's about to break out. So you guys have the initiative. What would you like to do?
Can I attempt to look around to see if there's anything within the environment that could... Well, there's only one guy left, right?
There's one guy left that's on your side of the hangar. So of the original pirate crew that you guys had thrown down with, there's only one left. Then there's 3 fresh ones who just stepped off the turbo lift that are at range right now.
Okay. Is there anything that I like? Can I look around for a way to use the environment to either cut them off or to keep them away from us, like shooting like a lamp or something, just something in the environment?
If you had momentum, you could certainly make that happen. But since we're starting, I think you only have 1 momentum because of your talent, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
That
Close-knit crew. Yeah.
Close-knit crew. Yeah.
Maybe if more people had close-knit crew.
We weren't a close-knit crew at the beginning.
Don't crew shame.
Well,
I'm going to say that's definitely something you'd probably need to purchase with a momentum spend. Otherwise, it's just the...
Okay.
It's just the clear space. Yeah.
We have the 1 momentum though, right?
You do have the 1 momentum, yeah.
Okay, well, would that be enough?
You need 2 to alter a trait or add a trait to the scene. So if you wanted to create something.
All right. In that case, I would like to use my minor action to prepare. Prepare essentially gives another one of my crewmates a minor action that they can do immediately. So I'm going to give that to Taeon to aim. And I would like to use my major action to rally.
Okay.
And essentially it's going to be, Taeon, get ready. On my mark, I'm going to think of something and you're going to execute without hurting anybody or killing them, most likely.
Hi, Captain.
What's up, Sam?
As I ready.
All right.
And you had a question?
Just looks like you also have the create trait major action available to you.
That's true. In addition, the standard create, it's a major action. Create trait action description 289. So that's right. That's a new rule for 2nd edition. So control, insight, or reason command to perform a task normally representing battle plan strategies or similar. So it might be... this is one of those gray areas because momentum would be spent here to basically make something true. Whereas like the impetus behind the create trait action here would be representing battle plan strategies and similar. However, it could be argued that this is using tactical battlefields to your advantage. And it's kind of GM's discretion as to whether or not that means creating something that you could use to shut these guys down. I think it's perfectly Trek for an episode to do just what you're describing. So I'm going to say yes. So if you are willing to do I would say a control command roll.
Okie dokie. Control command. I have to roll under 12. That is a 13 and a 1. Um,
13 and a 1.
and my focus that I'll use for this for the I don't think on a 1 you don't have to have the focus.
You already got the
Yeah,
crit.
you got
Yeah.
one.
So essentially I'm just going to say that there's something on an overhang.
Okay. Type an
I'm
explosive
gonna,
type or something.
yeah, I'm gonna scope that and go, Taeon, aim above 12 o'clock on my mark fire.
Ready. And I'll pull out my phase and aim up top.
Okay.
Okay, and that'll be my turn.
Okay. Anybody else wants to go next? I'm guessing that's going to be you to Aeon.
Do we serve initiative? I assumed it would go.
We can hold
Yep.
it for free, can't we? Someone has a hold it for free.
That would be me. That
Yeah, yeah.
would
I
be-
assumed that because you were giving him the
Yep.
order, you were going to hold the initiative and take that.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yep, call to action. So, no, is that call to action? No, that call to action is what gives you the. It's decisive leadership. There it is. Mark fire. And because prepare is assisting you, you also get an additional D20 on the action.
That's perfect.
Quick question: How are you giving that one? Is that a major action you just did?
Yes.
Because you're out of actions. You can spin.
That was a minor action. Call
minor
to
action was
action.
having him aim, was giving him the giving the extra task, and then you used your major action as a command to tell him to shoot the thing on the ceiling. It's
The minor action, using the minor action enables
him to aim.
it also gives the bonus.
It also gives the assist.
Right. Sorry, I thought what you were just describing was actually an additional action. Are you just narrating him, telling him to aim? Okay. Copy that.
So sorry. Okay, so to clarify, call to action is my minor action. In a conflict, you may use the prepare minor action to grant one ally you can see or communicate with a minor action of their choice, which they perform immediately. That was what the aim was.
Okay.
My major action was creating the trait.
Right.
So now that it's his turn, it's the fire. He's
Gotcha.
acting on the aim, and because of
Gotcha.
that ability, he also gets an additional D20.
Right. Okay, so that's what you're describing. Okay, just tracking all of that.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. So then yes, you'll be able to enact that. And keeping the momentum cost you guys 2 momentum, by the way. Or keeping the initiative, rather. So just keep track. And,
Decisive leadership lets me do it for free.
oh, that's what you were talking. Okay, that's where I got confused.
Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. So decisive leadership, let's keep the initiative for free. You've got 2 momentum in the bank, and go ahead and make your roll. So you're using phasers here, I'm guessing, to shoot?
Yes.
Okay. In which case, using the phaser is range, so the standard difficulty of 2.
Okay. I have the character trait sharpshooter.
Excellent. Oh yes, I remember you using that on a certain bird of prey.
Yes. Okay. And I get to roll 1 more extra dice, right? Okay. That is, I rolled a 3, 3, 4.
Whoa.
Which is all crits because I have a focus in hand phases. So 6 successes.
6, 5. So gain 4 momentum.
Whoa.
Which means you can burn those for immediate momentum spends if you want.
Well, the great thing is because of self-reliant, I actually get 2 bonus momentum because I didn't buy an extra set of dice for it. So I'm gonna use my bonus momentum to
throw some extra damage.
Yes, to create. This is for creating a trait, right? Yeah. So I want to. Yeah. So I'm going to spend a 2 momentum to bonus momentum to create a trait. Blocked. I suppose is that a good trait? You think blocked?
It sounds like it's a means of kind of increasing the potency of what existed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, because it has now gone from a vulnerability to a problem. That feels like thing, but like a thing more.
Let me put it this way: you can spend 2 momentum to create a trait, but then you can spend an additional 2 momentum to increase the severity of the trait.
Yeah, I think that's what Sam is suggesting.
Yeah. So it's repeated. So you can just keep,
if everyone's good at I would spend a 2 bonus momentum to create a trait and then another 2 of the momentum we created.
Okay.
To increase severity.
A red beam of energy lances forth from your phaser and strikes an area just above the turbolift. I did describe the turbolift as a bit rickety and that this place looks like it's in need of repair. There is a secondary explosion that follows the sounds of metal slagging away underneath intense heat. And then there's a popping sound. You all see this explosion of a white plume of vapor erupt from behind the Noskins just as they step out and draw, and they barely have time to react before they're completely enveloped in this vapor. A few seconds later, all three of them are coughing violently and stumbling out of the vapor, dropping their weapons and dropping onto all fours and coughing. One of them just collapses to the ground. And the others follow in suit a few moments later before a very pathetic environmental control safety system activates and begins to evaporate the vapor very slowly, drawing out all the vapor from the room. All three of them are down. The fourth Nausicaan, having seen this on his turn.
Actually, I would like to spend, if everyone's cool with it, 1 extra momentum to use I believe fire at will, which lets me make another attack with a cost of 1 momentum instead of 2, as I turn around and fire at the one remaining.
Okay, under the arm shot, go ahead and make your roll. Difficulty is 2.
Wait, first Captain says, Mark, fire, and now you're firing at will? What are y'all doing to these people?
No
We
one's
don't like
safe
your
from me,
maid.
especially Wills. That is a 5 and a 6. That's 3 successes.
He is a minor NPC, so he cannot ignore injuries. I'm guessing. Oh, you know what though? Not to get in the weeds with this. Hold on a sec.
Yes.
But I do have to check because I believe there might be a rule here. Let's see, blah blah blah. There might be something.
Or whether or not I can.
There might be something to, because think of it like this: you just used your phaser to successfully blow up and take out those 3 at the front. I'm assuming you're not keeping the same phaser setting when you shoot this dude in the chest, right?
No.
Which means accommodating for setting to stun in the seconds that you have to flip that phaser around. Injuries, let's see. Some attacks have multiple, so some stun attacks are intended to incapacitate a target. If you are stabbed, be detained, deadly attacks to do stress avoiding injury. So if you are counterattacking, you make a choice. Okay. You can't inflict stun or deadly. Where this choice exists, you must choose which kind of injury you wish to inflict when you choose the target of the attack, which you just did. If you're counterattacking, which you're not. Okay. Nope. I thought it was going to require you to take a minor action to set it to stun. But according to this, it's just when you make an attack, you get to decide if it's stun or if it is deadly. It does not require you to take a minor action. I think that's an artifact of the previous edition. This one just lets you do the thing.
Yeah, it would definitely be stun.
Yeah,
In that spin.
Stun should be an easy to access. You click the button and shoot. Easy enough to do it. Okay, so in an impressive and really a virtuoso display of phaser skill, popping that explosion right in front of these 3 Noskins that have emerged from the turbo lift, and then underarm shoot just at the guy right behind you on a snapshot. He goes hurtling backwards and hits the ground, laying on his back, groaning. And combat effectively ends with that action.
Let's go.
Zazaret,
What fight?
who is in
What
the
fight?
middle of like going full on like dual wielding disruptor pistols, pauses with some disappointment on his face as he sees all 3 of them go down. And Koss turns and just goes, "What happened?" And Zazaret just says, "They ruined my fun."
Sorry, we just had someone to speak to, someone to get this over and done with quickly. Where is she?
Meanwhile, You are, for the sake of a scene, because the weapon's in hand, so whether it's pointed at you or not, an initiative round would be drawn, but we're not in combat yet because she pulls what looks like some kind of energy weapon. Looks like a makeshift disruptor or possibly a phaser-styled weapon, but she whips around and points it at you and immediately does not fire. Instead, just holds it in front of her, and she looks completely panicked. Just, I don't know who the hell you are, who you're working with. Get off my ship.
All right. Good. You have a weapon. We're going to hold until we hear back from the rest of our team, and they're going to set up at the door to the area because they don't know the combat is over. Effectively turn their back on her pointing a weapon and be like, good, you're also armed. Let's go back to protecting you.
Make me a presence command check.
All right. I will.
I'm going to set the difficulty of this at 2.
All right. I didn't count all the.
We were
I
at
assume we're
4.
swimming in.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have 4.
Yeah. I was like, Taeyeon just shot. We're fine.
Yeah.
Then I will take 1 extra.
Okay.
May I throw leadership on this?
Hmm.
Given that it was good you have that, I'll take position up here kind of thing. It is toward a persuasive end, I'll grant. But I have a 2 here, so it could be a crit.
The reason why I would say no is because it's not necessarily somebody who's ready to receive any kind of leadership. If you were using persuasion or some kind of thing to de-escalate the situation, maybe. If she was already your ally, definitely. But in this case, I'm going to say doesn't make sense to me. So what else? What have you got?
No. That's what I've got. I've got force of will and a lot of piloting.
Okay.
So yeah. So then that's oh right. No, vis-a-vis the roll, then 1 of those doesn't count, and we're at 2 total.
Thank you. Okay. So 2 successes.
Sorry, I misunderstood what that. Yeah.
That's okay. So if you can imagine in this moment where you just kind of look at her and with total confidence, you turn your back on her and start watching the corridor after saying this. And there's a look of confusion on her face and she does not fire. Instead, she just looks at you kind of like she's not sure if you are maybe sampling some of your own product. She's kind of just like holding the weapon out and she goes, "What? Who are you?"
Oh, I'll let my boss tell the details for now. I'm just in charge of keeping you safe.
And right when you say that, there's an explosion outside as vapor explodes outwards and drops the 3 Nausicaans. And then a secondary phaser shot. She flinches a little bit as she hears it and then looks back at you.
Yeah, that job's feeling real relevant right now. Heck. Get into cover. I'll hold this here.
Out of curiosity, are you armed but pointed towards the corridor?
Once I will not draw until I have taken up position at the corridor and angled my body away from her.
Don't worry, I'm not looking for an excuse for her to get angry at you. Mostly,
no, but also just to the effect of Cadence is intentionally doing that. No,
yes,
totally.
Mostly, I want to know if you have your phaser drawn. Doesn't matter who. Okay.
Yeah, someone might be coming down the hallway. I'm holding this position.
In which case, being the clever cookie that she is, to your benefit, but also to the increasement of her anxiety, you can see the increasing anxiety as she spots that phaser. And Cadence, you can see that she puts 2 and 2 together. Standard issue Federation phaser, easy for someone to spot, but she kind of slowly lowers the phaser and goes, "Oh, no. And the all clear is given outside as you hear the last Nausicaan drop, moaning on the ground. And you hear Zazrit and Koss having their conversation. All right, the narrative's y'all's. You have the scene now. Everybody has been dropped. All the baddies are down. Zazrit holsters both of those disruptor pistols and saunters over to the Ossican that would appear to have been the leader and who was talking smack to him, the one that Jaren knocked out cold, and he unclips the laser whip as he kind of casually walks over to him. Koss backing him up. What would you all like to do?
I think Jared is going to focus on getting on that ship, but he's just going to say, I would like for the people that are down to stay in the condition that we dropped them. And then he's just going to the ship.
Zazar gives you a strange look as he watches you walk by and head towards the ship. He glances
Savine
over
just
at
looks
Koss,
at him and
and
says-
it's impossible to tell what Koss is experiencing.
Savine looks
And
over at him
says
and
nothing?
says, we are pacifists, and turns and goes towards the ship.
Zazar's eyes narrow a little bit. Pacifists, huh? And he glances right at Aeon, who just did that spectacular maneuver.
Heone just kind of leans
Are you
probably
a,
more than usual.
Are you a pacifist?
They lean probably a little bit more than usual on the cane and say, "Oh no, it's my job not to be a pacifist."
Bars.
It takes him a few moments. Perhaps it was the adrenaline, the excitement of what was going on, the thrill of taking out people that he did not like, of a plan coming together where he was able to overwhelm the Nausicaans who were about to get away and keep him here trapped on this station. But finally, he does seem to notice the weapons you were all holding. And Zazaret being able to put two and two together, we are pacifists, and seeing that you used stun on the guy on the ground, you see he lowers the energy whip suddenly and goes, "You have got to be kidding me."
What is it?
They're feds. It's Federation. They're Federation.
No.
Yes. He's stunned. Look at their phasers, Koss. Yeah. Yeah, y'all are like a bad cold, I swear. You go up that ramp and find yourself inside the corridor of the ship. You see, stepping into view, Cadence, you hear someone coming up the ramp. You're not exactly on edge because you heard how things went down outside, but you see your captain round the corner. A good sign.
Objective secured.
Oh, and she's happy to see us.
I am no one's
I bet.
objective.
Nice to meet you. I'm Jared. Can we talk?
Yeah, okay. She lowers her gun.
Great. You mind come aboard? Your ship. Want to be respectful.
Sure.
Crew, all aboard.
Zazaret,
outside.
We didn't introduce properly. They'll just.
Casey, she extends her hands.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. I think.
Hope so.
As everyone's moving, Koss and Zazaret stay outside. He waits for the last of you to start boarding up on the ship.
Now we kill them.
We can't. They're gonna have a problem with that. We've been here before. We know how this goes. What's that?
I do think as everyone leaves, heads into the ship, starts to head to the ship and then pauses and goes, "Captain, do you mind if I stay outside just to keep an eye on things?"
Actually, tell you what, Zazaret speaks up. We were only down here to have a chat with these fellas. Casey, I think you owe me some parts. Think we can agree that you owe me a couple of engine parts. Just get me those, Call it a day. It's all I was down here for. Koss and I, we want to get out of here. You can hear this echoing down the corridor, and Casey just goes, let me just get rid of him.
All right. Holla if you need us.
And she pushes past everyone, steps into the doorway, and shouts after him. I don't have your parts. They took them. Really? That actually kind of expedites this a little bit. Tell you what, Captain. Drazana Station is going to have an issue when they find out that there was a firefight down here, and all they need to do is find evidence that there was a firefight down here. So why don't me and my boy Koss here take care of these guys? We'll get them out of here for you. I'll get my engine parts. You can have your business with Casey. By the way, Casey, they're Federation. Casey just goes, yeah, no shit. So you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Federation cells are super cozy. Koss, get this one. Reaches down, picks up the lead Nausicaan.
Do we need the others?
No, just that one. That's fine.
What gave it away?
This
Was
has
it
been
my
fun.
jacket?
She glances back and she just nods at the weapons because your phasers. And because you didn't try to kill me when you charged into the cockpit behind me. There's something telling about her language, Cadence. Not too many people use the terminology cockpit when referring to their bridge. You're definitely talking to a pilot of some kind. Koss, with one hand, lifts this large Nausicaan up off the deck and just kind of starts to drag him back towards the turbolift. And Zazrit says, well, that'll about do it for me. Good luck, Casey. Good luck, Feds. I've had my fill. I got a ship to catch.
That you do. Thank you for your assistance.
Sure thing. And good luck, whatever it is you're doing.
We'll need it. Casey.
Koss, there is a groaning sound as Koss purposely steps on one of the wrists of the Nausicaan. If you were close, you would hear the noises the bones make underneath the weight of that Gorn. With that, the two step into the turbo lift, and Zazrit, with a grin on his face as the doors close to the turbo lift, once again unclips the laser whip from his belt as the doors close, and Koss sets the Nausicaan down. And that's the last you see of those two as the doors just go, just seals up. Casey turns and looks at the rest of you and just says, all right, I guess it makes sense. You were traveling with Zazrit. He's got a history with the Federation, though I thought he hated you guys. What do you want?
Information, parts. I am going to exposit essentially what our mission is.
Make me. As you were saying this, if you would please make me an insight command check. With the difficulty.
Gotcha. Let me clear this up. Insight command. Okay, that's a pretty good number. This is starting to get a little ridiculous. 7 and 1. I'm putting it in the chat.
Okay.
Here we go. So that is 3 successes.
Casey looks panicked as you start telling her what you guys are looking for. You see genuine panic start to bubble up on her. She even goes so far as to dart a look in the direction of the hangar, like she's considering the possibility. Like for a brief second, she was wondering if she could run. But you were getting the vibe that she looks like a cornered mouse all of a sudden. She seems very, very nervous and a little desperate.
I'm getting the feeling that you're feeling some anxiety. So let me begin with this. If you are being threatened in any way, it is my every intention to keep you safe. If you feel as though we are the threat, I can assure you we just need your help. And once we're done, we'll let you go on your merry way. There's no reason for you to feel anxious.
There's plenty of reason. It's not me. I help you, they kill my sister, that's game over.
Oh. So it sounds like somebody should go and get your sister.
No. Look, I have a very simple arrangement. Okay? I fulfill the job, I get her back. You guys interfere. If they find out I've talked to anybody, she's going to die.
Do you think that you will ever be free so long as they have your sister?
I don't have a choice. Those are the arrangements.
You do have a choice. It just walked into your ship and it told you that it is willing to do everything in its power to get your sister safe.
Really? Because from my point of view, my sister's death sentence just walked onto my ship.
And if I'm not mistaken, the men outside these doors were also your death sentence as well. And for me, it was barely a event.
Nice
These
shot, by the
guys-
way, to Tam.
These guys
Yeah, just nods.
These guys were flunkies. These guys were nobody.
And we're Federation. Let me tell you something. Just about me, personally. You need help. And right now, I want to move heaven and earth to help you. Mission be damned. You will never be free. They will use whatever you feel for your sister against you until they have used you up and there is no need for you any longer. Can you guarantee that if you fulfill your obligation that they will let her go?
No, but if I help you, they certainly won't.
Well, they would have to be able to stop me.
If you would like to make a presence command check on this,
Yeah, absolutely.
the difficulty is going to be high, though. It's going to be 4.
Gotcha.
Got momentum to burn if you'd like to.
Ooh,
use
I
that
would like to
roll.
burn it.
Yes.
Why do? Oh, because
And don't forget, if you've spent any of your determination or anything like that, we're still in the same mission, so you don't get it back yet if you've burned it.
I still have one because of the
You have multiples.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are determination machine. So you can shell those out.
Man, I'm going to. How much momentum do we have?
3 currently.
Y'all mind if I spend the 3 to get 2 more?
I think you
All
should.
right. Alrighty, so we're gonna buy 2 more dice. Here we go. Well, yeah, here we go. Okay, that's not bad. That's a 14, a 4, a 12, and an 8.
How many successes?
That is 4 successes.
Okay. She seems really.
Did any of your focuses come into play?
Oh,
4's pretty low.
4. Yeah, that would love multitasking, martial arts, team dynamics, inspiration, and composure.
No, I wouldn't say that. What was the other one?
Inspiration and composure.
No, I wouldn't say that. This would be more of like hostage negotiation or somebody kind of like trying to placate somebody.
Persuasion kind of.
Yeah. In this case, though, 4 successes is plenty. You managed to. You see her when you drop that we are the Federation. Or you see that she seems a little. She kind of scoffs at that, like somebody who probably lives on the frontier and doesn't have a lot of contact with the Federation, probably has a certain opinion about the Federation. You see her just kind of, but you continue speaking to her with conviction, and you can see, again, a clever woman. She starts to, the gears in her head start to turn as she starts to weigh the odds. She looks emotional as she's considering this. She puts her hand on the side of the entryway into her ship near the ramp where she steadies herself for a second. And she covers her mouth and she says, I don't think she's going to make it out of this. I don't know what they want from her or why they took her. Just that if I don't deliver these things that they tell me to get and deliver, that she's going to die.
What exactly are they having you deliver?
I'll show you.
I follow.
She starts heading towards the back of the ship. What's up, Cadence?
As we follow, I'd just like to. You said this was a rather modded freighter. This is someone who, you call it a cockpit. Maybe you care about what you're flying. They're starting to size up this freighter and what Casey's done with it. They are assessing its suitability for a Trojan horse mission before they suggest it to their captain.
I would say make an insight con check.
Could I also get a difficulty check on that persuasion so that we know if we got any momentum back? What was the difficulty?
No, it was
It was 4.
It was
So-
4. So he
The
never
difficulty
did.
was
I
4.
just
Okay.
met it.
You
Yeah.
just said, okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Mhm. That's okay. Go ahead and make that. So that's going to be a difficulty 2.
Yep. Difficulty 2.
You might have specialties that apply here, actually.
I mean, I got flight control systems. I got small craft tactical systems. I
Control
got
systems will
small
all
craft
be-
engineering. I got.
This is kind of what you do.
I got what I need.
Yeah. Cadence, you kind of rest your hand on the chair and look over this place. Yeah, it's a heavily modified freighter. This is an old freighter. Old civilian merchant marine, probably been in service. It's an Antares class. So this has probably been in service for maybe about as long as the Pride has been in service. It has been repaired and patched up and modified again and again and again. It's not unusual to see civilian freighters that have been used for well over 100 years. They get passed around a lot, sold off at auctions, stolen all the time. This one looks like it's been through quite a lot. Judging from the readouts that you see on the console, it doesn't look like it actually has a lot going for it, which your instinct tells you it probably has other modifications that aren't as readily visible here in the flight deck.
That's also a thing. As we're moving to the back, this is why I'm like queuing it to that, continuing to assess that, and also just kind of what the ceiling is on this, like not the literal ceiling, but like, okay, look, I don't know if you know these engineers, but they are built different.
Yeah.
So there's the state of the freighter, and there's like the state of the freighter after Santos and Pavan even have had their time with it. So I'm also assessing as we go, what could we make her into if that were where my captain ends up going.
So basically, as you walk past, like in the center of the ship, you walk past one of the rooms that has the warp core in it. And the warp core, again, it is quite old. The warp core looks like an old class 2 warp core that's probably capable in its heyday of achieving a top speed of warp 4. But the modifications that you see on it might indicate it can go just a little bit faster. But immediately off the top of your head, you thinking this does not have anywhere near the range of travel that the Pride has. This is more of probably a short range, maybe a sector range system craft that can travel. If this ship is going to travel sector to sector, it would take months. So not anywhere near as fast as the Pride, but again, a lot of modifications to kind of tweak it, give it extra life. There's a little bit of something familiar with how it's been treated. Like the Pride has been given a second chance, and this ship has probably given 4 or 5 chances. When you reach the back cargo area, she taps a button and the wall opens like a door, and you see extended, what looks like an extended hangar bay that on the outside is likely disguised as a failed engine. So it looks like it is the interior of an engine. It's a false wall here as it raises up. But as it does, you see on racks, row after row after row of cell containers. Some of them look like they're in shoddy shape, and some of them look very similar, not the same ones, but look like there's the same models as the ones that were stolen from the colony you all saw. But they are old power cell containers. Some of them look like they're barely containing their energy charges, and some of them look like they're in the process of losing them and draining. It looks like junk, but there's probably about 60 that are on racks in here. She just says, I don't know why. This is what they want. And they're not easy to find.
And it's exactly this. If you tried to give them anything more current, they would turn it away, I'm assuming.
I don't know who I'm dealing with. I've never seen them.
Then who is your contact?
I've never seen him. I've met him, but he doesn't show himself. He doesn't show his face. I've seen him standing in front of me, but he always kind of sits back in the shadows. Real cliche, I know, but that's the way he prefers to do business. We have a drop-off point, and believe me, I know that I've brought that up. I know what that means for me. Look, I don't know who they are. I just know that they know things, and my sister is, oh man.
Can I attempt a engineering check to see if I know of any sort of tracker we could put on one of these to gain more information?
You could. Yeah, you could put a tracker on one of these. Easy enough. Is that what you're thinking of doing?
He's thinking of doing that, but I think what I want to have him check against is, because the thing is, we need to find out more information about the contact, but the contact has already told them don't get Starfleet involved. So, what kind of tracker could we put on that would survive a sweep from somebody that's looking to be avoided by Starfleet?
Starfleet intelligence has things like that, but the variable is you don't know who you're dealing with. But
we don't know the extent of their technology. They can
Right.
yeah, but again, Starfleet intelligence, which, listen, the Dominion War, if nothing else, caused Starfleet to leap forward a couple of years in their espionage trade and in their warfare trade. And Starfleet Intel, by the end of the war, had gotten really good at being sneaky. So if you can requisition something like that, you might be able to use your pull as a captain with your reputation to try to get that kind of equipment. That would be something to look into.
Yeah.
But yeah, because if you're looking for something that's completely undetectable, that's top of the line. That's like top shelf Federation intelligence equipment. You'd probably have to call in a favor.
Or it's not Cadence, but kick it back to the nerds. There's a difference between can't trace it and don't think it's suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
What kind of things can a Vrali see on sensors that are fairly specific that aren't somewhere else? Doesn't mean a thing unless you have the context.
That's better than the nefarious scheme that I was thinking of. Was like, or we could just use a Klingon tracker.
But these aren't Klingons, they're cells.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call in that favor.
Okay, you can do that back in the Pride.
Yeah. So that's the plan there. When are your next drops scheduled and where?
I'm due in 2 days.
Wonderful.
It's not terribly far from here.
Would you like a lift?
If I show up to this place flying in a sparkly Federation starship, she's dead.
Oh, of course. We wouldn't drop you off. We'd just get you closer. This thing is due to get you there. And Cadence, how long would this shit take to get to? Where's your drop-off location again?
It's in the Tau Neotis sector system. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
From here, you plot it well, and you're kicking what? Warp 4.4? Once you activate that? back there?
She glances
That's
at you.
about.
She glances at you and she goes, 4.8, but yeah. You just knew that
Consistently.
just looking at you knew that just looking at it?
Hey, that's me. I'm not the warp expert on this team. You probably would have gotten at least 4.6.
I can squeeze warp 6 out of her, but only for an sustained period of time, about 2 hours before the core goes dead. I have to restart the entire core.
We could get you close much sooner and then drop you off out of scanner range and let you participate as normal.
She looks anxious by this. Maybe. I don't know.
At the very least, we could offer you refuge on not this station until you're ready to leave.
I honest to God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Let us start earning your trust. That's a start. What can we do to make you feel at ease?
I just want my sister back. I just want to know why they took her, and I want her safe.
Okay.
Well,
Would you
if
be willing
it's-
to brief our security officer on everything that happened, about how she was taken, how you found out, how they communicated? We could maybe start to figure out some exfil plan. By me, I extremely mean my colleague.
Leon gives a small wave.
She's she can't fight the smile at seeing a Vulcan do such a human sort of awkward gesture. She just, oh damn. Okay. Fine.
All right. Well, in that case, can we get a ride to my ship?
There's your ship. And we'll cut to.
Captain, you didn't enjoy riding with me?
By the way, as a sort of button for the scene, as you say that, you hear outside echoing in the hangar, "Is it safe to come out yet?"
I knew I was forgetting something.
Oh, God.
So we'll cut to you guys arriving on station. It's a beautiful sight. You see the USS Pride waiting on station just outside of range of Drazana Station. She is at full stop, and as you are coming upon her, you see Casey just looking out of her window, goes, "Is that an Excelsior class starship?"
Yeah, she is.
Holy shit, I didn't think they were still in service. That is a fossil.
She is the last one.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I love the classics.
David perks up at that a little bit. Not visibly, but classics? You want to talk classic ships? Classic ships? Classic ships?
So it is a scale 3 freighter, so it's too big to fit in the main hangar bay of the Pride, but she can pull alongside the Pride quite easily. So, which she does. She brings it alongside the Pride, and a few moments later, you're all beaming on board. As you all materialize on the transporter pad, you see a couple of the ensigns standing at attention, and you see Ensign Zoe Devon smiling at you. "Welcome back, sir. Everybody, bridge crew, senior staff, welcome back."
At ease, everyone, at ease.
You see Hata smiling at you, and she says, "Captain is not in uniform."
Yeah, I know. I was just about to reprimand myself. Let me go get changed.
Charging in to the transporter pad immediately is one Dr. Selma Conway, who has a tricorder ready to go. And she just steps in, and the moment she does, you see your Tellarite reporter friend throw up his hands and Pend just says, don't worry, doctor. I'm still my handsome self. I still have all my limbs. She walks right past him and starts scanning everybody. Who's
Better
this?
luck next time, Brog. And to be who walks for.
I'm Casey. Dr. Conway says, well, Casey, welcome aboard the USS Pride. Pride. Nice. Well, thank you. Please, I'm not a fan. And she goes, oh, and she pulls the tricorder away. It's a standard issue Starfleet. We're just making sure, but the biofilters would have caught anything. Are you injured? Do you need help with anything? No, I'm fine. I mean, some decaf tea would be good, or decaf anything, really. Maybe, actually, do you have alcohol? She smiles at you, Captain, and folds the tricorder close and goes, I'll leave you to it, Captain.
Thank you, and I will need to book an appointment. I think my rotator cuff's at it again.
It's the tricorder. It clicks open again, and she immediately begins to run a scan. And she nods, and she says, you have inflamed tissue. Nothing too bad as a torn rotator cuff, but I am going to give you some anti-inflammatories.
It was quite the right hook, Captain.
Yeah, not like it used to be.
Immediately, the hypo pain goes away.
Oh, that's the good stuff. All right. If I could have anyone on the engineering team take a look at Casey's ship, if that's okay with you, Casey, I think we might be able to have somebody knock the dust off it at least.
She stiffens and goes, well, what's wrong with my ship?
Nothing, but I want to make sure that nothing gets in the way of you getting these deliveries on time, and that means being proactive and not reactive.
Okay, sure. Can I look around your ship and dust it off?
Sure.
I would love to give you a tour.
Really?
They'd love to give you a tour.
The doors open and she just says,
So ship. You want to hear about a ship? You want to walk around my ship? You like old ships? You want to hear about my ship?
okay.
But in Vulcan. But in the Vulcan.
She agrees. She says, okay, yeah, fine.
I am going to give the missive to the engineering team to see if there is any tracker on board Casey's ship, to see if anybody's watching her.
Okay.
Anything that's not OEM on that ship, I want to know about it.
Okay.
That's going to be a long list, Cap.
I know.
I'll go in with the team. I'll point out what I've seen so far. Report back.
You hear a voice coming through on the engineering. Also, you hear instead of your chief engineer answering you, you hear Ensign Bionel answer you instead. You hear her just say, I'm sorry, Captain. The commander's currently crawling inside of the main maintenance shaft. I think you should probably speak to the captain. You're doing fine. I'll let him know.
You're doing fine.
He said I was doing fine.
That means you're doing fine. All right, good to know. Thank you. I'll make sure everybody's updated on our mission status. I'm going to need, and I'm going to give the location of the dropout. I'm going to need a report on this location, everything that we know about it.
Okay.
And I've got to make some calls to a couple of admirals.
Okay, so to expedite a little bit, what is your reputation is 5? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Your time serving in Starfleet Command Tactical during the Dominion War has put you on a first name basis with some of the top brass at Starfleet. You know this because you butted heads with a lot of them. However, you do command the respect for the efforts and the efficiency that you showed during the Dominion War. So with a reputation of 5, you've got a pretty stellar reputation with the brass. Reputation 5, just to give you an idea, that's kind of like Jean-Luc Picard levels of respect that you get from the end. But it is worth noting that even Jean-Luc found himself in some situations where he had to call in favors to get some things sent his way, particularly when Starfleet was trying to bury them. Such a good episode in season 7 where Riker gets I won't give any spoilers, but check it out. It's an episode where Riker's old captain comes on board. It's the first time you see Riker and Picard. It's the first time you see Riker disappoint Picard, and it's a heartbreaking scene. It's really good. Okay, so that is simply a matter of using your reputation, which at rank 5 right now, it does say you can just do this. You basically just call in the favor using that reputation. So with that in mind, I would say it's easy enough to get on Starfleet Command. I mean, you're going to have to report back specifically right to Starbase 1, Starfleet Command. Well, no, it's not Starbase 1, it's Starbase HQ. So let's do this. The one, you do know an admiral who works right out of Starbase HQ. That would be one Admiral Rollin.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the old dog a call.
Okay.
Oh,
As you situate yourself in your briefing room, in your ready room, it takes a few moments for subspace channels to be established all the way back to Earth. But once they do, with almost no lag time whatsoever, you see appearing on screen your good friend, the Betazoid who put you in command of the USS Pride, Admiral Rollin. You see a smile come up on his face. His uniform is unbuttoned. He's looking a little informal. And he's like packing some data pads, and he goes, Captain, what mind-bending, galaxy-crushing news do you have for me now?
Like I'm just finishing putting on the uniform.
It's pretty serious when you're contacting my office directly instead of going through my liaisons or any of the offices. So what do you got for me?
I've got a favor request, so you know it's interesting.
Well, I owe you guys a favor. So what do you got?
We have an individual that is reporting to an unknown contact, delivering the same energy source that we are going to require for our misaligned Klingon friends. And he just continues to give the rundown on everything that's happening.
Okay. He listens attentively. Attentively. I found it. And by the time you are finishing, he's already like nodding and I'm sorry. There's one piece of information I didn't get.
Yes.
Who is her sister? Who is this woman's sister? And
other than the fact that there's someone being held against their will, I have not delved too deeply into that particular mystery, but that is a wonderful thing that needs to be investigated further. Thank you for pointing that out.
I think my big question is what is the relevancy of, like, how does she tie into this? Why would they kidnap some random smuggler's sister? And why did they choose this smuggler? It seems a little targeted to me. I'm just a little confused why whoever these people are. There's more. There's clearly more going on here.
Yeah, I was hoping to have that conversation once the civilian was in safe hands, but it does behoove us to see what we can find out before putting any further lives in danger.
All right. So you want me to contact Starfleet Intelligence and to try to you want me to try to get you a tracking device?
Yeah, I know how these requisitions go, so I figured I'd get mine in early before the line gets too ridiculous for you, Admiral.
Starfleet Intelligence is stretched pretty thin right now. There's a lot of people out there trying to take advantage of the Romulan situation. But I think I can pull in a couple of favors. Let me see what I can do. But if I'm able to requisition this for you, I cannot give you a specific time frame of how quickly I can get it out to your corner of space. Might take me a hot minute. I'll have to put a fast ship on it.
I hope that we have a few of those to spare, but I appreciate you doing your best, Admiral, and I will try. I will pursue more information so that you might have a better case for this requisition.
He nods. Keep me posted. I'll keep you updated as well.
Will do. Thank you,
Starfleet
Admiral.
out.
Oh, that's a lot of dinners I'm gonna have to go to for this one.
Okay. With that, what would you actually? It's 7:30. Why don't we do this? Why don't we break for 10 minutes, and when we come back, you can have the sit down chat and discuss things as to get more information as to what the heck is going on from one Casey now that she's seen the ship and kind of relaxed a little bit.
It's just gonna involve prying her away from to be in this tour.
Yep.
But
All right.
Captain, somebody would like to listen to me talk about the engines.
Yeah, exactly. We will be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to jump right back into the game. Where we last left off, you had basically put in a request to Starfleet Command to get yourself a tracking device used by Starfleet Intelligence, something that could be untraceable. So you could slap that on these power cells so that if they're delivered, they can be traced. The challenge is the Admiral can acquire that, but he doesn't know if he can get it to you in the time frame that you need it. So that's up for grabs right now. You gave him all the information about Casey and who she is, and he said find out what you can from Casey about this sister. Get back to me. He's going to do some investigation on his end and try to find out if he can get you that tracker that you needed. In the meantime, Casey was shown the ship, kind of put at ease, and now is being brought up to. Where do you want to basically have a briefing with like the staff, or what would you like to do to talk to her? How would you like to do this?
I think I'm gonna try and find Casey and Tavine while they're on the tour. Like I figure doing it while she's being a little distracted, like and welcomed. I feel like Tavine would make her feel welcomed. So it's just like try and cut into that. Listen, maybe not. I don't know. we're gonna see.
Depends on how much she actually likes classic ships. How much of that was just a
No.
passing comment.
Oh, she's about to find out if she didn't.
No, she has a genuine affection for classic
Okay.
ships, and
Okay, then
is
maybe
on,
she is put at ease. Yeah.
yeah on the tour. She is constantly saying, "Wow, you guys didn't change that out," and just things like. Also
No,
noting
and some things have caused problems, but for the most part, the original parts have sufficed.
Yeah, she notes that the width of the corridor seemed to be like old school Federation, that it's not very spacious in this ship. She also notes that a lot of the officers' quarters, even some of the higher deckers, as you might call them, are bunking, because that's the old school way of doing it in Starfleet. There were no like expansive quarters. So she's asking a lot of questions. Also pointing out that there's wood paneling on some of these corridors, which is very old school.
Tavine will indulge any and all lines of questioning about the ship.
Okay.
Like any question she has, Tavine will have an answer, or like this is like the best day ever for Tavine. She
Yeah.
loves this ship so much.
The one of the big questions that she has is she wants to know if the Pride still has a galley.
We do, right? Yeah.
The Pride does still have a galley. It has been converted, but it is largely usable, and is if I remember correctly, you guys did not take shuttle bay. Yeah, so you don't have the trait for the galley itself. So I would say that a large portion of the galley has been converted to more modern standards. So there's no cook staff, basically.
No,
like
no.
like there used to be on board starships. There's no chef and there's no people actually working the kitchen. In this case, though, what used to be the galley is in fact still available for operation, but it is used mostly as storage these days. Can be cleared out for diplomatic things, but for the most part, it's not a functioning galley. But she wants to see that. She's curious about.
Oh, we definitely. Yeah.
There are remnants of the old galley in here. It's a large, mostly steel-looking room of like an old kitchen. It's quite large, as some of the rooms go, about the size of one of the modular science bays that you guys have. It's located towards the heart of the ship. I would say probably on deck 14. And you guys find this place. It used to be the beating heart of the ship, where food was prepared for all of the staff. This is back when starships didn't have replicators, and literally had to stop into starbase every few months, like old school top sail ships, in order to restock and prepare for another long range missions. She is checking the place out. The place is largely used for storage, and some, and by storage I mean like EV suits are kept in here. Like extra EV suits, extra engineering equipment is stored in here. There's also a plaque in here that has like a list of crew members that used to work this kitchen. She just looks around at the place and just shakes her head. And she goes, "Wow, man, I can't believe this is still in service. I mean, I know you can see this stuff in a museum, but it's just." I knew Starfleet was kind of stretched a bit thin with everything that's going on with the, Hobus Star and all that terrible stuff, but I didn't know that they were pulling ships out of mothballs. This is great. This is really great.
Special. She is special in that regard. I believe the only one. It was a pet project of an admiral, as far as I'm aware, but I served on the ship prior to the decommissioning and then came back upon the recommissioning.
Second tour.
It's been an interesting experience, yes.
You guys seen any action?
More than I think we were expecting. Partially why we came to find you. But looks like you needed maybe some backup, so hopefully we can provide that.
She looks a little anxious again and says, "I'm taking a huge risk, and it's not just for me. The way I see it, I can risk trusting that these people are going to keep their word, which who in a situation like this ever does? I was coming up with a plan to try to get my sister out of this. Like, I figured it gave me time to come up with something. But
Very reasonable.
yeah, Federation was not going to be my first choice. I mean, my sister, I think she used to work for the Federation at one point.
Is that why they took her?
I honestly don't know. I know my sister was associated with the Federation at one point during the war, but I don't know what she did. She never told me.
We have some information on who we believe you are moving power cells for, but we don't have much. So any information you're able to give us when we do our debrief will be very helpful. But we may have some information to share with you as well, and hopefully that, I can't say it will put your mind at ease, but you will have more information, which in itself is
something.
calm.
I wish I could tell you guys more. I mean, I don't want to repeat myself. I'm about to unload all of this into whatever, I guess, briefing y'all are about to make me give you, but I have no idea why they took her. I don't know what they want from her. I don't know if they're just trying to get to me. I'm a good smuggler. I mean, I shouldn't be telling you that because you're basically, law enforcement out here. But truth is,
I'm just a pilot.
She nods and says, "You're wearing a Fed uniform. You're law enforcement." I don't have anything against you guys. I mean, I used to, but then the Dominion War happened, and well, it kind of equalized things for everybody out here on the fringes. And
Were you involved with anything that would have made you a target for this specifically?
Me? No. I mean, I've gotten into trouble. Sure. I mean, sometimes a shipment doesn't go well. Sometimes somebody tries to take a higher cut. Sometimes somebody's a sleaze bag. Sometimes you do take a higher cut.
If we're right, it wouldn't be that. This is very specific. I haven't been able to figure it out, and I think we'll need more information to get there, but
it could be I was just the right person at the right time. I mean, it's happened before. Just don't.
It may have been coincidence. Maybe they didn't actually want your sister for something that she saw or did or knew, and you were a Nice bonus.
I don't know.
We will figure it out.
I hope so, because my check-in's coming up pretty soon, and I'm going to have to deliver this next round to these guys. And
You will.
I may not have seen their face, but they scare the hell out of me. And I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot.
It's okay. It is a lot. There are more people at risk as well, which is why we are taking such a big interest. But I
Sure.
am pleased that we get to help you and your sister specifically as well.
Well, let's wait until we all get out of this alive, and then we can say you helped me and my sister. Right now, I'm still not sure that I haven't endangered her further by going along with this.
At the very least, now more people know. More people are looking out for her.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they told me would kill her, but sure.
Would it be all right if Jared were to?
I've been
walk
waiting.
in?
I've been waiting.
I think he's just gonna go the galley. Yeah, makes sense.
She just looks at you and says, "You've got quite a relic here." I don't know much about Starfleet, but that they let this ship fly still is, well, kind of cool of them.
She's a classic for a reason. I've made a requisition for some items that I think would help us. I'd love to ask a few questions of you if I could. This old galley doesn't get much life these days, does it? Would you mind if I had a few of our staff members join us down here?
She shrugs. Sure, I mean, it's your ship.
Well, we do what we can to make our guests comfortable. Senior staff, meeting in the galley.
You hear Haven say, "Did you say the galley, Captain?"
That I did.
Just checking. I wasn't sure we still had one. Be there soon, sir.
Cadence to Devine.
Being here.
How's the galley? I've never seen it.
Deck 14. It's where they store the EVA suits.
Aye. Thanks.
Sure.
14
When
decks.
everyone's gathered, it is spacious enough that it is accommodating to all of you quite easily. You're about half the size of the kitchen staff that used to work this place. Haven looks really impressed as he's looking around. He goes, "Wow. I got to imagine there's got to be other places on the ship that I have not seen that have the old flavor of the old, This is great."
I've seen it used twice before. We used it as a special event space on occasion. It's quite lively.
To be fair, I mostly see the Jeffries tubes in the engine core and secondary sensor platform. And anyway, you get the idea.
Play
Hata
medium
just
figure
says-
tag here.
Hata just says, "Yes, I'm very fond of this place. I used to come here to meditate from time to time. Nobody uses it."
I think, while waiting for everybody to get there, Jared's just kind of been in the kitchen area looking to see what's in there. I might have to make a dinner for the crew at one night.
It looks like the place has been largely remodeled.
Yeah.
It's not to say that you couldn't arrange something, but there's no foodstuffs or anything like that in this place. It's all storage. It looks like a lot of it is a lot of some old tools, redundancies, some data pads. A few of them look like they probably should be retired from service, but it looks like it's mostly just a locker for a lot of extra items.
Thank you everyone for joining us here. This is our guest, Casey.
Hey,
Casey is a
smuggler,
very talented smuggler,
criminal.
a very talented smuggler and criminal. Everyone hold your need for justice. Just to make the joke.
Haven't scared.
What's Taeyeon's face right now?
Everyone is just quietly watching. they don't seem to have any real genuine expression on their face. Very Vulcan of them in this moment that they just.
Oh, now a Vulcan. I see.
No shooting to be done. No, I'm teasing. Casey has been acquiring rather old power supplies. The very same that our Klingon friends have a need of. I do believe you have a drop-off in 2 days, and we are going to be of as much assistance as Casey will allow. Casey, if I may, what was your sister's name?
She glances around a minute and then she says, Jin.
Jin. And might we have your last name by chance, your surname, or
Kang.
If we could just run, if I could have us run scans for any information we might have on them to see why they've been targeted.
She looks at you and says, police.
It was not his smoothest, I will admit.
Hata says, I can look into this, Captain.
Thank you. You know, I can't wait for the look on your face when we let you go without being put into the brig for you to have this a different perspective on the Federation. But I used to be exactly.
Now she's going to go on a crime spree about it. If I knew I had an out.
No, I'm fairly certain we would catch you immediately.
You don't know what I've gotten away with, Captain.
That said, when I know that your next drop off is in 2 days, do you have a point in time in which you have to communicate with them?
She nods and says, in about 24 hours, I guess, give or take.
All right. Well, you're the expert here on what needs to be done to appease these individuals. How can we help?
She looks completely blank and goes, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where they're holding her, and I don't know how this ends. They just told me so long as I keep making these deliveries that she'll be safe.
You met your quota? Do you need more?
They haven't told me yet, but I do have to have a minimum. A lot of the cells that I bring them, they break down. Sometimes they break down on the way. They don't seem to be upset by that. In fact, it seems like they expect it, which is probably why they have me bring in such a heavy load every single time. But I don't know what they're doing with these damn things. I mean, they're becoming harder and harder to get out here. And it's gotten to the point where I'm having to steal them. Sorry to admit it, but I've had to swipe a few of them because these aren't things that are necessarily found on the black market. Nobody wants them. They're ancient. I mean, most of these systems these days don't work with them anymore.
What's your minimum requirement for delivery? Are you above that currently?
They haven't really told me yet, but they definitely told me that I need to get as many as I can. And they said that in a way that made it sound like I should get as many as I can.
So I can't help but think that you have to have your next, at least to my sister's life on the line, the next 2 targets planned out for where you're going to grab the next couple of runs. Where are they at? We can go get them.
Well, the meetup spot's in the same place every single time. The Tau Neola system, it's a pretty empty system. There's nothing really in it except for there's an abandoned deuterium mine. It's old, hundreds of years at least. It goes way back. It's been abandoned for centuries, and they use that as the drop point. And they usually meet them inside the mine. The facility there has some pretty... if you thought that this ship was old, the facility itself is pretty ancient and uses some minimal technology, but there's enough to support basic life support. Very little else power. And they do a very dark drop-off, beam-off exchange inside the mine, and then that's that. Every time I've come there, they're waiting for me. No ship, no nothing. They're just there. And same thing. I'm encountered 2, sometimes 3 large dudes who are just covered in... it looks like a cloak or something. I can never really tell, but they're off in the darkness, and they're pretty brief with me. They usually give me evidence that Jen is still alive and that she's okay.
What form does the evidence take?
Usually a direct communication with her.
That could be useful.
They, if nothing else, have been oddly, I don't know, fair. Maybe for people who have kidnapped them, they seem to be pretty direct and willing to motivate me by showing me that Jen is okay, which, if nothing else, I appreciate that much.
During these communications, what do you say? How can you be certain that this isn't a recording?
Well, it's usually we have a code that we have had since we were kids. They haven't caught on to it just yet, but I ask her certain questions and she answers back to me. My sister and I used to play spy games when we were kids. And anyway, before she became a scientist.
Scientist?
Yeah.
Scientist that knows spy coding. Is there... If your sister had the chance to put a signal out into the great void in hopes that you would find her, do you know what she would say?
No. I would know if she was talking to me, if she was trying to tell me something. I mean, it's not spy coding. It's just thing we said to each other as kids, as sisters. I don't think she knows any spycraft or anything like that. She's just a dorky scientist.
All right, I'll bite. What kind of science?
Biochemistry.
Does not make any eye contact at any point with Avrali.
Avrali,
Cannot overstate it. Kid's not.
Avrali looked like they were about to ask the question. She's a biochemist.
You said that she had some associations with the Federation in the war, but you didn't know what form that took.
She served as a civilian. I don't know. I mean, a lot of civilians got called in to help because of how short of, staff everybody was. But
that just means we may have record of what she's doing and what she was doing and how it might pertain.
Almost on cue, you hear Hata go, There's no record of a Jin Chang. At least, not that I can see who has a sister. There are 34 Jin Changs in the system, but I don't see one that has a sister. Do you recognize any of them? And Casey looks as Hata holds up the data pad, and there's a bunch of personnel files. And she just scrolls through and goes, no. None of these are my sister. She did work with Starfleet. I don't think she had a rank or anything. I think she was just, I don't know if that's going to make a difference, but she didn't have a rank. And Hata says, no, we would have her on file if she was working with Starfleet. Unless, and glances at you, unless she was not in a personnel file and working with Starfleet.
As a biochemist.
Every time. Okay. Well, I don't know how many favors I could call in here. Engineering. Do we have any update on Casey's ship?
Pavin just says, Just that it is shockingly space worthy. Aside from that, it's nothing more than a warp core with some life support built around it. I mean, no offense, but it's amazing that ship hasn't breached and just blown up on you. It's does have an interesting little quirk about it, though. And you hear Casey go, "Now look, I already said I was a criminal," and the quirk being that she actually has sensor dampeners all over the back end of that ship, making it very difficult to scan anything inside those cargo holds. If I were to guess, Captain, if the Pride snuck up on Captain Chang's ship here and scanned her, it would probably come back like low-level radiation and fly right past us. You'd need some pretty powerful scanners to actually find out what's inside that cargo hold. Nicely done, by the way. Is that where you dropped all your money? She goes, "You have to invest. I mean, that's how I get around. No one's going to chase a ship that's not carrying anything. So why do invest in engines?" That explains your music collection. You spend a lot of time traveling through space. And she goes, "Did you fucking touch my music collection?" He goes, No. I just noticed it. I just noticed it.
Can we, with your permission, Captain, could we improve the dampeners? Make it harder for the ship to be tracked?
Casey looks at you for a moment and says, "I mean, it's not legal, but if you're willing to do it, my big question is going to be, do I get to keep them? And if not, do I at least get to keep mine?"
I have no interest in taking anything off of your ship. And as for keeping any improvements that we give, we'll talk. But the bottom line is going to be, so long as you don't hurt anybody, I'll be more inclined to say yes. But if it's harder for you to be tracked, or if it's harder for anybody to see what's on your ship, well, that might just be the key to figuring out where the hell they have your sister.
Okay.
Captain, may I ask what the plan is then? It seems like they have their sister elsewhere, so we're not going to find them at the job site.
No, but they have her talk to her sister, which means that the signal is going out to wherever her sister is. If we are able to follow that signal or capture it until Casey can come back to the Pride, and then we can analyze it, we should be able to get an idea of where her sister's being captured.
It's a real-time conversation. Either it's within relativistic distance, which is unlikely, or if the Pride anchors at the nearest subspace beacon, should be able to see what relays through it.
Engineering thoughts?
Pavitt nods and says, "It's not a bad idea. We could monitor one of the subspace stations out near that sector of space is pretty empty. I bet you if we planted ourselves near a subspace beacon, like Cadence is saying, the lieutenant has got a good idea there." Sorry, Lieutenant Commander. Still getting used to that.
Yeah.
We might need a midway point between the Pride and Casey's ship to carry this transmission. We have a stealth vessel of our own. Would that be something that we might be able to employ in this instance?
Oh, I don't. Y'all have to look into. Okay, yes, sir.
Stealth vessels. I thought Starfleet wasn't allowed to have cloaking devices on their ships.
All right,
Oh.
not a stealth ship, a sneaky ship.
I won't tell if you don't.
Hey, listen. I've survived in this side of the universe that I live in by keeping my mouth shut when I come across stuff like this.
Well then. Engineering, if you're going to make the improvements to Casey's ship. Science, if I could have anything at all that can capture a transmission or at least get us some idea of where it's going, I think we got ourselves a plan for me.
I could help with that, Captain. Raleigh pops up, but to be honest, the specialist on board who you want working on that, sir. And Raleigh points at Hata Ben.
Mhm.
And Hata says, they're right. I specialize
Well,
in communications. It was one of my first tours.
well then, Commander, you are ordered to show off.
Hi, Captain.
In the case of science having some possible downtime, Captain, I am growing more concerned about our Klingon friends and how dire their need for backup is. Is there any way we could get science to look into maybe extrapolating off of what we know from our hull piece, how much of a power source would be needed to stabilize them, even if it's just for now?
Raleigh speaks up and says, Captain, I'm still working on that, but I don't have any progress just yet.
We just have several road banks of power with us that would help it. Maybe we could skim off the top a little.
Actually, that's really good point. If it's okay, could I take a science team over to Captain Casey? And Casey pops up and goes, please don't call me Captain Casey. It's just Casey. It's fine.
What's the name of your vessel, Casey?
Casey looks at you with a little bit of suspicion and says, the Tahanu? Why?
Good name.
Okay.
Good shit.
You're getting everything off of me. So please rescue my sister. I don't give people my first and last name, never let alone on my ship and scanning around.
And you are getting some very questionable upgrades from us that you did not get from us.
Fair. At that point, Avali pipes up. So back to my request. If I could get back on your ship and scan all of the power cells that you get, see, we're trying to track down what the correlation is and why they want these power cells. And what we've noticed is they have some kind of interaction with these anti-chronoton particle variants, which are causing some pretty unusual things to take place on the ship. Casey just stares at Avali and goes, I don't fucking care. Do whatever you want to do. And she, oh, okay. Thank you. I think that's Earth swear for yes, Captain. So I'll take a team over there and get to it.
Well, there you are. Any other requests, insights? You've got a plan for me, and I need to make sure that it's phaser proof.
I have a request. It's not exactly mission critical, Captain.
Yes.
This is just something that I've been wanting to bring up to you for a while, and I was kind of hesitant, and I don't want to be, I know we've got bigger things to.
Oh, I'm all ears.
Okay. It's just that when we were in operations with Chief Lenatus, he informed me that the USS Ross has kind of like a hoverboard system for their Jeffries tubes that allow people to lay down on them and kind of just skate down. I'm just begging if we could maybe apply to requisition some of those. It's just that the Pride uses the same metal deck platings as she's always used, and I'm pretty sure that I've had about 12 engineers have to report to sick bay at this point to have their knees looked at. And if we could get those, that would be great.
I already have a open requisition for some improvements to Raleigh's Nook in the Jeffries too, so it shouldn't be too much to add to that.
Thank you, Captain. I love this job. Thank you.
I'm thinking about adding a replicator down here. Replicate the ingredients and have a nice crew dinner.
What? No. Listen, it's your ship. Do what you want, but you've got a galley. Hire a cook. Like,
for special occasions, you may have a point. Yeah, I think you have a point.
Is that goofy looking Tellarite you have cook? Have him do it.
Like, I think the entire crew's like
grown. In truth, like a few of the others emit a like you hear even Hata goes which is kind of her version of a groan.
I'll reach out to the Ross to see if I could get the the blueprints on the hoverboard system for the Jeffrey tubes.
Raleigh
Should be
scoffs and
interesting.
says, "Oh, good luck." They're very difficult to get a hold of right now, sir.
Well, we all have our assignments. Let's get to it.
Just as you dismiss the crew, your comm badge chirps as some of the crew are starting to spread out and leave the space. You get notification from the bridge that there is a priority 1 message coming in from Starfleet Command
On
from
my way.
Admiral Rollin.
Just see Captain Jared power walking very.
Yeah. Jaren, it's instinctively, being somebody who served in intel during the war, instinctively, and actually, Cadence, you as well, there is just this, there's a weight. However you react is up to you, but there's a weight to the words priority 1 message. It usually means top priority and encrypted. It's usually coming directly from command, and it's usually the most serious or most urgent messages that Starfleet can send out to their ships. When you get to the bridge and you are informed that the message is waiting for you in your ready room.
All right, I heading to my ready room.
Okay. You step into your ready room. You see Admiral Rollin's office and the signature of Starfleet Command up on your view screen. And as you tap it and he appears, the jovial look on his face is very much gone.
Oh,
He looks quite serious and his uniform's buttoned up. He looks over at you and goes, "Captain, my oh my, how you find ways to step in it."
oh boy. Yes, Admiral.
You're not in trouble, Captain. Indeed, you're not in trouble at all. In fact, Starfleet is a little alarmed. Right now, command staff is being discussed and debriefed on the message you sent me, but we did some background work on Casey Chang.
Yes. And what were you able to discover?
Her sister is a woman named Dr. Jin Chang.
Yes, apparently she worked alongside the Federation during the Dominion War, yet there are no personnel files.
There wouldn't be. The only reason I was able to discover who she was is because of the disbandment of the Section 31 agents. Jin Chang is one of the biochemists that worked on the morphogenic virus the Federation used, manufactured by Section 31 to end the Dominion War. I don't know who discovered her, but whoever has her, it's hard to believe that it's not somehow tied to this. It makes her a priority 1 target. Now, when Section 31 agents were called in after the disbandment, not many returned. Starfleet believes that some of them decided to go rogue and just keep doing the business as usual without the resources at their disposal. But there are other people in Starfleet like me that think that most of them didn't go rogue, but just decided to get out and didn't want to join Starfleet intelligence. Starfleet, for the most part, was understanding of that. But we track most of them to make sure that they're not getting into anything sensitive or becoming a liability for their pardon, we'll say. However, there are a few that are on the list of Section 31 agents that are basically guilty of committing war crimes, and the Federation wants them in. Dr. Jin Chang could be considered one of those people. Now, I don't know her story. Section 31, after some of these agents were debriefed, we learned a lot about some of the coercive ways they were able to force intelligent people, just like Earth of old, to build things that ended up doing terrible things. Scientists are usually put to work to do just that. But Captain, whoever has her has one of the most brilliant biochemists the Federation has ever known. and somebody who has a background on manufacturing one of the most horrific biological weapons that the Federation ever had the shame of being attached to in its history. She is a priority 1 target for the USS Pride. Now the bad news. You are 2.5 weeks away from the nearest Federation ship at maximum warp. You are out in the middle of nowhere, Captain. So you are on your own. I don't know who these people are, but your official orders are do everything you can in your power to rescue Dr. Jen Chang. Help her sister Casey get her sister back. We'll take everything from there. If you can, learn the identity of the people that have her and how this ties into everything that you've been experiencing. I'm sorry about the tracker, Captain. I'm not going to be able to get it to you in time. I'm just not. Starfleet's stretched way too thin. I'm going to have it delivered to Starbase 16, however, just in case, for good measure. We'll have it for the future, if nothing else. But for this one, you're going to have to get clever.
Aye, Admiral. I would like to make one more request of you, if I could.
If I can help.
Do you know a good cook?
I know a few.
Well, if you know any with a hunger for adventure and doesn't mind spacefaring, we've got a galley I think could bring a little life to the ship.
He leans back in his chair and you see some of that tension melt away for a second. And he goes, you're going to open up the galley, huh?
We had a meeting there. It sparked ideas, camaraderie. I think we found where the heart of the ship is.
You know, when we were flying against the Dominion, there's a long pause before he says, Cadence would agree with you. There is something about getting around a campfire with your mates. Helps you keep each other alive. Captain, I don't want to waste any more of your time. The clock is ticking. I don't know who these people are, how they found a former Section 31 biochemist. Do what you can. But the priority is rescuing Jen Chang. Secondary priority, if you can, find out who these people are. It might be they don't know who they have, or it might be tied into this somehow.
As you say, Admiral, it will be done.
Keep me apprised. Starfleet out.
Okay. Well, Prophets, you keep things interesting. I'm going to head to Cadence.
Okay. Where is Cadence?
Well, all right. So I need you to give it to me straight. Is there anything in that sensor dampener my Griffin doesn't have yet?
Are you asking Pavin this?
Yes, I'm asking you.
Oh, Pavin looks at you and goes, no, not really. I mean,
Huh?
it's basically a more archaic version of your system. The only difference is that, frankly, he looks left and right like he's waiting for somebody to jump out of the shadows, and he leans in and says, her ship is a piece of shit. So when people scan it, they don't think twice. Whereas your ship is designed to maybe not notice it's being scanned, not notice it's there. If someone's scanning your ship and you're having to use a sensor dampener so they don't know what's on the inside, you're screwed already, aren't you? I mean, do you really want me to look into what I can do with that? And if I do, by the way, I'm going to have to get that cleared with the Daystrom Institute, with Admiral Rollin. I mean, if I start futzing around, to say nothing of what Santos would do if I started futzing with your Griffins.
Look. It doesn't have to. I just need to know the score. Sounds like you're giving me the score.
Yeah, the score is that I mean, I could. I mean, it's just one more system to be operating on there, but
No, you have to be looking at that freighter, getting it in the best kind of shape. You do what you do. They just like slap on the arm.
sure
I'm
thing.
just gonna check in on some of my own ships and make sure that she's fit to escort. And Cadence, you're gonna find Cadence when they saunter on in to their bay, knowing they got the best. So yeah, if you're looking for Cadence, that's how they're coming in. Little spring in there, little step.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Kira's gonna go. Do you have a moment?
Captain.
Just got update on our mission. Congratulations, you're going to be the closest to a priority 1 target.
Does Jaron speak Vulcan?
No.
Don't worry about it. The Universal Translator can't pick up everything.
Tries to get you away from earshot. Just goes. It would appear that our guest's sister,
The biochemist.
yes, the very one, former Section 31.
Doing biochemistry.
I don't think you have to be the world's best pilot to fly to the next conclusion.
No, sir, but it helps. So, how are we doing this?
Mission remains the same. Pride's gonna be outside scanning range. You're gonna be the one in the middle. Hopefully, we'll be able to pick up that transmission. If not, I want you to use your very best judgment. If the opportunity presents itself, snatch and run. But only if the opportunity presents itself.
Understood.
I got us a cook, or I'm looking for a cook.
You see Cadence's eyes just dart elsewhere in their bay.
Got any
Looking for
ideas?
staff, sir. I vaguely recall a volunteer, and at this moment, I don't know who dropped something, but I think you can see from Cadence's face whom they believe did. So there are some available personnel around here if you're looking for assignments.
I think I get what you're putting down.
Not that he hasn't been lovely. He's been lovely. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to countermand your orders. Told him to be here. He's here. We are not having him push paperwork or anything, but I feel like there's an oh sorry at this point. I'd just coming in through.
Finish preparing your ship. Wessa, he's gonna see if Wessa can cook.
You're the best captain. Never has there ever been a better captain than you.
Cut to standing in front of Westsot and on the flight deck. I never. No one's ever asked me to do that before. I suppose I could. It's not flying a Griffin, but it's enjoyable.
No better way to win the crew's heart than through their stomachs.
It's true, and I do enjoy it. Oh, and I do have access to an old recipe database from my. Let me think about that. I might actually be able to help with this. Would I have a staff, or is it just me?
I'm sure we can find a few people to give you a hand in the kitchen. What's a chef without a sous chef, right?
Never had a sous chef before. Never had a kitchen. Okay. Yeah, let me think about that. That's intriguing. It's I always wondered what I would do when I retired from being a freighter captain, and then I was like, "Oh my God, Starfleet!" And then, but now it's like, "Oh my God, cooking in Starfleet!" Did not see that coming. But let me think about that, because that could be a thing. Yeah, that could really be a thing.
That could really be a thing. Well, I'm having your domain fixed up as we speak, so if you decide to take it, it's all yours.
Wow, can I see it? Can I go check it out?
Yeah, I'll take you to Gallery 14, and I'm just gonna take him to the galley.
He's like, would I have like my own space? Like I'd be doing this. It would be like my domain, like you said. It would be like my.
This would be all yours. You keep my crew fed. You have basically a level to yourself.
Really? That's
Captain of the kitchen.
That sounds nice. I like that. That sounds. I mean, I wouldn't act like a captain of the kitchen. Could be a captain though, like of the kitchen. If I
You ever hear a persuasion check land in real time?
like, probably.
Yeah, I'm having a couple of people fix this up a bit. Tell us how you'd like to have it remade, and then we'll swing.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna say yes, because you've got to take initiative, right? And in Starfleet, you take initiative. You gotta do things. You gotta go. You gotta go is our business. So that's what I'm gonna do. And yes, I will be I will be Captain Cook. No, I will be the captain of the kitchen, sir.
Captain Cook.
No. I mean.
Oh, I think it might stick.
I'm happy to accept. I am very. Do I still have? Should I wear the uniform still? I don't know. What does a cook wear? The uniform?
Well, there is.
Funny thing is, Jaren, is he's not really wearing much of a uniform right now. It's just sort of the flight jacket of the deck crew, and it's usually used by civilians. He does have the enlisted rank on right now, but that's about it.
You know, I don't think there's a standard uniform for chefs anymore, so you get to define it. But now that you've officially accepted the job, I think there's one very important thing that we need to do. And sure. I'm going to go to the plaque, and I would like to replicate one of the little engraved name tags. It put his on the plaque of kitchen staff.
You put it up. You just will say you had this ready to go, and you just kind of put it up there, and it seals to the side right underneath. The shiniest, the old plaque is a bit tarnished from age, but there it is, Yedib Wesot. And he looks at it, and it just says cook. And he looks down and goes, and you see he gets a little emotional, and he puts his hand on the plaque where all the other cooks and all the other crew staff from 80 years of the USS Pride, and you hear him whisper, "I won't let you down. I promise."
I want to put a hand on his shoulder, and I'm going to go, you're going to see a lot of people come in and out of this place. The moment I was here, I realized this is where the heart of the ship is. And you're the guardian of it. Take care of my people.
Aye, Captain.
Okay. Can't wait to see what's on the menu. And Jared at that point is just going to go to start letting everybody who needs to know about the priority one target.
Yeah, the scuttlebutt is a little distracted with the fact that they're about to start getting real cooked food in the Pride, which gets a lot of excitement starting to buzz around the ship. You let the crew know, and we'll say you were gathered in the conference room. Exposit what the Admiral told you.
Mm-hmm.
And Pavin cannot help himself. In his native Trill tongue, he blurts out what is something along the lines of, fuck me. Hata, who understands, immediately shoots him a look with those large eyes, and he just, sorry, Commander. Wow, that's huge, sir. That's scary.
Means we're gonna have to a lot more pit stops at star bases, but you know, we've got something the other ships done.
Oh,
Not-
you're talking about the galley. Sorry, sir. I was talking about.
Oh yes, the target.
I was so happy.
I was trying not to think about that honestly, but
Oh
yeah,
no, it's
we-
okay,
we
sir.
need to think
I
about
was
it.
really excited because I was like, wow, I can actually find out what chili tastes like. But now I'm thinking, wow.
Yes,
There's still a lot of rumor that S31 was just a myth, but
well,
wow.
we're about to have proof that they weren't.
Captain,
Yes.
Dr. Conway leans forward and says, forgive me, Captain. I'm trying not to be. I don't mean to jump to conclusions, and I think our Vulcan friends here would remind me that I am taking a rather bit of a leap of logic. But, and there's a long pause, and she says, never mind, sir. No, I'll come back to me.
Doctor, are you certain that this is an open forum for ideas and there's no bad ideas?
I'm going to let this one sit.
Understood. I can understand how retrieving this individual might feel rather uncomfortable for some. The Dominion War was an event of great horror.
Captain,
Yes.
I'm sorry, sir. This is a leap of logic, and I can't shake a feeling. It's just that I've been working closely with Taeon ever since his incident on board Starbase 16. I just find it to be an incredible coincidence, sir.
Taeon, were the individuals that you encountered cloaked?
They were not, by the way, Taeon.
No. Oh, wasn't one of them cloaked a Romulan?
There was a Romulan that was wearing would look like a funeral cloak of some kind.
There was a Romulan wearing a funeral cloak. Slightly different, but similar enough for me to recognize it as Romulan. Beyond that, no.
I'm going to give you a rather unorthodox order, Taeon. I'd like for you to have a conversation with Casey about the individuals that she meets during the pickup. Listen with an open mind.
Actually, I was actually going to ask Captain if I can be aboard her ship when she makes her drop. With the dampeners, and I'll look to everyone else, I assume I won't be able to be detected as a life sign.
Speak with her to see if they do a visual sweep of her ships.
Captain.
I will also point out that we do not know the extent of the technology of those who we're dealing with, especially if we're considering them to possibly be the people that our Klingon friends have been dealing with. They may have capabilities that are well beyond what we could even imagine. And I think it's worth keeping that in mind.
Let him ride with me then.
If Kenneth will have me, I have no problem with that.
I think that sounds like the right way to go.
I pick the music.
I'm anxious to see what your music taste is.
Still, have that conversation with Casey.
Hi, Captain.
Doctor, that leap in logic might just be the thing that turns this mission into the success that we desperately need it to be. Thank you.
She says, I hope so, Captain. Theon's been experiencing some pretty unusual, experiences between Vulcan mind melds and everything that Lieutenant of Raleigh has been talking about, these incidents with temporal manipulation. It's just strange to me. Somehow, instinct, I don't know, just seems like an odd coincidence.
I will say, as one of the Vulcans you're referencing, I don't think is that much of a leap in logic. It's better to be prepared for the worst and hope for the best.
My thoughts exactly.
Hata Ben speaks up, and the commander just says, Captain, we're less than 2 days away now from when Casey will be needing to rendezvous.
Then let's make sure she's set and ready to go. Cadence, get ready. Godspeed.
All right. Pack your snacks
Dismissed.
down.
Hata stands up. Crew dismissed. All right.
Okay.
Prep work begins. Aeon, you had a conversation you wanted to have with Casey?
Yes, I'm going to go find Casey if I can.
Yes. Casey is in, what did you call it? 11 backward?
It was eight backward, or was
8
it?
backward?
It was
Yeah,
the
because we did it in 8.
8 minutes.
All right. You find her in 8 backward, sitting at one of the tables that overlooks, if she's got prime real estate. It's one of the tables in the back that overlooks the nacelles and the aft of the ship. Right now, the USS Pride is just moving at cruising speed. And she's just glancing out the window. You can tell as you approach her table to Aeon without having to make any insight checks that she is a woman who is nursing a lot of worry right now. She seems nervous. And she starts a little bit as you approach.
Sorry, didn't mean to scare you.
Fine,
There.
I'm just a little jumpy.
No, trust me, I understand. Do you mind? And I'll gesture to the seat beside them.
That's your ship. She motions to the table.
Try to be polite, even if it's my ship, and I'll take a seat beside her, setting my cane against the armrest. I can only assume, but I'll say out loud, you're nervous.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot on my mind. I don't know if I'm racing to my sister's destruction or what's going on. I don't know why people want her dead, and I don't know why I'm running these damn power cells. So, and also I'm not used to sitting in a place as quiet as this. I'm not used to people walking up to my table that aren't trying to kill me or offer me work. So,
And
Anyway.
I mean, if it'll make you feel better, I can offer you work or pretend to try to kill you.
she glances at you for a moment like she's trying to figure out if you're joking. And then she smiles and goes, you Vulcans are really hard to read sometimes. I have no...
Yes, no, that was a joke.
I figured. If you weren't wearing that uniform, I would have probably gone for my weapon. But yeah, that was funny. So what do you want? Exactly. Not to be rude, but you're obviously got an objective. You wanted to talk to me specifically. And you're the chief security officer from what I heard. So I'm guessing
Yes.
you want to basically drill for some questions? Answers?
Yes, just see if we can... The more answers that we have, the better we can help and protect you if things
I
go
can tell you
south.
anything I didn't tell to everybody else. But go ahead.
Well, I have more specific questions, more on my field of work. When you make these drops, do they do a visual sweep of your ship? Do they come on board? What is that whole experience like?
I come alongside the asteroid and send out a signal that I'm there. Usually wait about 10 minutes for good measure as I pack everything up and get ready to beam over. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I drop the stuff off. There's a moment where I beam over and I tell them I have the stuff, and they get the coordinates from me, and then they beam the stuff off my ship, and they let me have contact with my sister, and that's that. Then they explain when my next drop will be, and yeah.
You mentioned a sort of language, a code you made with your sister. Is it just a passing phrase, or are you able to communicate more complicated?
It's a bunch of
ideas?
references we used to have when we were kids, like a lot of made up words and references to like old holo novels that we used to like watching, stuff like that.
What's she been able to tell you through that? Are they treating her well?
She says she's fine, and they were treating her well. I asked her who they were. She told me not to worry about that, just to focus on getting the power cells, and they'll both get out of this alive. I think she was protecting me from knowing. I don't know what that's all about, but she was always a little secretive about her work.
I think there's a moment of silence as she says this, and we're going to get her safe and sound. I can guarantee that.
She does the lip tuck of not sure. Just kind of, I mean, if anyone was going to be able to help, I guess a bunch of Federation and an old clunker like this one. I mean, I'm not one to talk. My ship is basically a trash can with a warp core attached to it, but
Well, it seemed to fascinate quite a lot of the engineers. At the very least, it seemed to fascinate Tavine and Cadence.
sure. I mean, that's because my ship kind of defies physics. I'm pretty good at keeping things that should have long since died alive. This ship is more like a classic car. You know what a car is? Earth used to have them all the time. Oh, sorry. Don't want to assume anything. You know, I meet a lot of other species out here, and I kind of drop Terran references.
You're perfectly fine. I was raised on Earth. One of my mothers was a human, actually.
Huh. Like what's his name? The really famous Vulcan that was also part human.
Yes.
The one that,
so,
yeah, that's the one. The one that, yeah. The one that mind melded with the giant alien that was trying to kill Earth hundreds of years ago. Read about that.
definitely can't say I'm that impressive, especially when it comes to mind melding history, but yes, a lot like him. Though I am full Vulcan, my Vulcan mother just married a human after my father split ways. So
Interesting. Yeah. Must. Yeah. Sorry.
you're fine.
It sounds fascinating. As you
It's
might
a
say.
confusing thing. I'm a confusing Vulcan. I'm fully aware that you don't need to.
You're different than other Vulcans.
Yes.
Yeah. See, with you, I don't know. You're easy to talk to. Other Vulcans just make me feel like they're judging me. Well, most of the time they are. The Vulcans I run into are criminals. So they're running the math as to whether or not I'm a threat or something. But, I'm impressed by any... Your mother was human?
Well, I have two mothers. I have a Vulcan one and had a human one. Yes.
I'm just impressed by any human that can, I can imagine, no offense, Vulcans that's a very special kind of relationship. I mean, you're different. I don't know. I've had trouble getting along with Vulcans. So I'm trying to picture how humans are so chaotic. We're all a mess, and Vulcans are all together, and like, how does that work?
Well, if it makes you feel better, I do agree that humans are a mess.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, look, I'm just saying, I kind of feel sorry for the Vulcan in that relationship, but I guess it looks like it worked out.
I think it worked out. They were happy. Both were happy. I
Shows
hope
what I know.
I came out fine.
I've seen some things, man. I've seen some things. I
Trust me,
thought I'd seen everything. I've met an honest Ferengi. Like, you see things out here on the frontier.
You've now met an somewhat emotional Vulcan.
Really? She leans in. What does that mean? Does that mean like, I've never understood how that works. So like, do the rest of Vulcans, do they have like those cut? God, I shouldn't phrase it like that.
It's fine. I'm very hard to offend. Ask your questions.
That's good, because I've noticed that every time I re-enter civilized society, I piss somebody off. There's a certain way you got to talk to people when you're on places like Drazana Station. And if you make them think you're soft or you don't have some kind of acid to your tone, then you can get shot in the back pretty easily. And it's kind of difficult to shut that off when I'm walking these clean corridors with all these snazzy uniforms around me.
Yeah, no, it took a bit for me to get used to as well. Will say that the high-ranked officers in the Federation weren't huge fans of me until recently.
Wow. I don't know much. I can tell you that they usually wear these raggedy looking cloaks. They're like, they almost look like sackcloth, but not black. They're like, I don't know, like something I would wear, but as a cloak. And they're pretty big.
From the
Very
description of the
respectful.
cloak, at the very least, does this remind me of the Romulan cloak I saw in that vision?
The cloak you saw, still trying to understand what it is you saw, but the cloak you saw was very well kept. It looked like it had pleats. It looked like it had ritual writing upon it that was you couldn't read it from where you were. It looked like from your angle a Vulcan burial robe. It had the same cut, had the same simplicity, the elegance, but it was hooded and there was wider shoulders. It was clear that it was a Romulan just from the forehead that you could see in the brief moment that they were talking. So it wasn't surprised to see that the shoulders kind of matched the aesthetic of a Romulan. Wasn't quite as obnoxious as the typical Romulan uniform, but yeah, it doesn't sound like rags as a cloak. And she shrugs and says, that's all I can tell you. The meeting usually takes about 15 minutes tops from when I arrive to when I beam over and let them know, give them access. They beam my stuff to wherever, and then that's that. Then they show themselves out. They tell me when to be back. Usually followed by me shouting, when am I getting my sister back? And almost every time they say soon. And this will be my third run now in about 4 months.
Do you know how or where they took your sister from?
No. Jen kind of just shows up at my doorstep sometimes. She likes to wonder. She's like me. She knows how to find me, but she's got more of a bright future than I did. We chose very different paths. She went into academia and I went into... Originally, I was just trying to be a pilot. But I didn't want to join the Federation because the Federation was too busy, fighting a war. And so I found other things to do in order to fly stuff. And I fell into making some money off the side.
Well, I am biased here, being a member of the Federation, but
Please don't give me the Federation is wonderful speech about blah, 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 blah.
no, I was just going to say The Federation has some really cool ships that you could fly.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Oh, you son of a bitch. Are you...
What?
You're pulling some bullshit on me right now. That's what this is. This is a shakedown. You came to drop that on me, didn't you?
I did not come to drop anything on you. This was just a natural flow of the conversation we're having.
Right. What kind of ships?
Well, and I will open up a data pad and just flick through some of the shits we have on roster.
Okay. They lean over and look at the ships as they're being scaled through. And
Can we just be doing a flyby outside?
Sure.
We haven't actually gone to this one, but some of those out there as well.
She rises from her seat and goes, Peregrines, I heard about these. And she just looks out the window.
Cadence is having them do the maneuvers
Mhm.
that, remember in the Rogue Black Hole era, we were trying to do formations.
Mhm.
They'll be drilling them right now.
Y'all are literally flying these for the first time since you had a singularity thrown at you by the universe. So,
Yeah, so it seemed plausible we'd be needing to drill at a narratively
Yeah,
convenient time and just making some real cool looking moves. I don't know what's going on. Have fun.
Okay. Doing formation flying and such. Griffin wing flying around out there. And she looks at you and goes, do you have a wing of peregrines attached to the USS Pride?
Yes. It wasn't just the Pride that was gonna sort of test run. The
Wow.
Peregrines as well.
She glances back out the window and she says, I thought fighter and carrier ships were done since the Dominion War. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, being more repurposed in our case for concentrating more on rescue.
Huh. So no fighting anybody on those?
Ideally not. Ideally no fighting, period, but...
Huh. Well, she sits back down in the chair. I'm in my 40s. Too late to go to Starfleet Academy. I'm sure it would have been a nice life, but I think it's a little bit...
40s is a bit up there for you humans.
Hey, what the fuck? Hey, listen. You can talk sexy with me about fighters and other ships, but if you're going to just dump cold water down my back and call me old... Emotional Vulcan and you talk like that? How old are you?
Well, about 76.
Okay. I don't even know what that means for a Vulcan.
Not too old, not too young. Just right.
You're a kid?
I wouldn't say a kid.
What would you say?
Old enough to be very, very tired.
Fuck. You had to get to 76 for that? I hit that when I was 40.
Casey, it was a pleasure talking to you, but I do have one other thing to ask of you.
Sure.
This is related to the mission. If you were able to, how long do you think you can drag the conversation with your sister? Just long enough for us to really get as much information as we can about where the signal's coming from.
I'm not sure, but I've played everything pretty direct up till now. If I threw a fit or something, it wouldn't look that out of the ordinary, I suppose. How much time would you need? Just as long as I can?
As long as you can. Once it feels like it's again a bit too much, stop. Don't push it any further, but the more we can have her on the line, the better.
Well, to be honest with you, I was planning on kind of screaming at them try to get answers about when this was going to end, but I could try it. Just so long as, like, if they pull, like, Klingon disruptors or something on me, you're going to be there to make sure they don't shoot me or something. Not that I think they would, but I don't know who these people are.
Yes, no, we're gonna have people close by, so if anything does go south, we'll be there as quickly as possible. But again, the moment it seems like your prolonging of the conversation gets even the slightest bit on their nerves, you can stop.
Listen,
What we have.
I'm a good freighter captain. There's no doubt about that, even though it's a POS. But the truth is, I live in this world where I have to fast talk sometimes. I can play it pretty good. I don't know. These guys are different for some reason. I haven't been able to get a good read on them. But if you want me to put on a show to buy some time, I can do that.
Okay.
Just save Jen. No, but seriously. And she leans across the table and says, I'm not going to be stupid here because I know you're Starfleet and you're going to do whatever the hell anyway. But if there's ever a moment where you have to pick, save Jen. Promise me you'll do that.
I promise.
I know you're emotional, but you still can't lie, right? Because you're Vulcan. You're not allowed to do that still? Is that part of the emotional thing? I don't know.
I promise you,
Thank
Casey, we're going to save Jen. She's going to be okay.
Well, 40's not too old to be an actor. Let's see what I can do.
I have a small craft to prepare for. I was told to bring snacks. I think jerky would be good as I stand up and head
And
out.
you eat meat? My God, you are a very unique Vulcan.
That was a joke as you walk out.
Sure. And you walk out. The Pride spends the next few hours preparing. On the horizon is essentially a quick undercover sting into which you are trying to locate a former Section 31 operative who is responsible for being one of the chief engineers of one of the deadliest viruses ever created. One that brought the Dominion to its knees during the height of the Dominion War by breaching everything that Starfleet stands for. And how the hell is it connected to the anti-chronoton variants, these strange power cells? Maybe next week, part 2 of the Hornets Nest, you will all find out. That is going to bring a close to tonight's episode of The Last Excelsior. I would hand out XP, but the truth is y'all are supposed to be writing up personal logs and challenging values and doing that yourself. So if you are going to be doing that, just keep me apprised of any advancements that you are putting in for your character and stuff like that. Typically, those are advanced at the end of the mission, so you don't have to worry about that right now. So just keep that in mind. And I encourage you players to start planning. And I will remind you, as I often had to do on Shielded Tomorrow and Clear Skies, your GM is not out to screw you. But you are definitely stepping into an area where the opponents and the people that you are trying to track down are quite clever. So feel free to make your plans in the week between now and next game. As we are moving into, I would say we are starting to enter Act 3 of The Last Excelsior. I think we can officially say we're stepping into Act 3. So next week will be part 2 of the Hornet's Nest. Thank you, Ox Crew, so much for joining us tonight. for another game session. Thank you to StreamPunks. We will see you all next Monday night, 6 p.m. same time. Until then, hailing frequencies are closed.